the gifts of God. So first thing is to stir up the gifts of God in verse 6. Remind you to fan into flame. Fan into flame like a fire. You know, fueling the fires and the fire getting bigger and bigger. This is a picture where you're getting it. Keep fueling your fire. Don't let your fire go out. This is what Paul is saying. Why? Because God's giving the gift for the reason. So 1 Timothy 4:14 also mentions about the Timothy's gift. It said, do not neglect your gift, which was given you through prophecy, when the body of elders laid their hands on you. Paul's saying, don't neglect it. Don't neglect it. And I remember when I was a new Christian and coming to church, and I had no understanding of spiritual gifts or anything, but one of the pastors laid hands on me and said to me and prophesied over me to say, I will plant the vineyard of the prayer in this house, and I will speak prophetically into the people's life. And I had no idea, because at that point, that pastor who prayed over me was running a prayer meeting, not me. And I thought, oh, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know how to pray. But I didn't know God had a plan for me. 2 years later, I started a prayer ministry. I ran a prayer meeting in this church for 7 years. You know, God knew, and God was encouraging me, and God was actually speaking into me through the prophecy, and laying hands on me, and praying for me. So this is what Paul's reminding him. Remember, Timothy, when the elders lay hands on you and ordained you into your calling, you have received this gift. Don't neglect it. Don't neglect it. Don't forget about it. It's not that Timothy needed a new gift. He didn't need a new gift. And he also didn't need a liberation of his gift. He just needed courage. He needed encouragement to use and self-discipline himself to stir up the gift that he has already received from God. And sometimes we forget, God has already given you a gift, and we're looking for something more, something new, and not stirring the gift that's already in you, as if we're waiting for something better. I want a better one. I don't want that one. And I wish I could sing like MJ. I wish I could do a kids teaching like Simone. I wish I could do this, I could do that. No, let's not do that. God has already given us the gift. It needs to be stirred up. So what is the spiritual gifts? 1 Corinthians chapter 12 actually talks about these spiritual gifts. 4-11, if you want to read it through, I'm not going to go through order. But there's a 9-fold manifestation spiritual gift that mentioned in the 1 Corinthians chapter 12, 4-11. And those are the one that we normally talks about a lot as a spiritual gift, so which is a word of wisdom, word of knowledge, faith. This is a special impartation of the faith by the Spirit. That's actually not for yourself, it's actually for the other people. And also the gifts of healing, working of miracles, prophecy, distinguishing of spirits between human spirit, demonic spirit, or God's spirit, including angelic spirits, all kinds of tongues that within the context of gathering and meeting of the believers, or interpretation of tongue. If you want to know more about it, come to Bible College, okay? I'm not going to go into it. And honestly, Bible College has done so good to me. If you need more information, see Pastor David later. And other gifts are also mentioned in Romans chapter 12, 6-8. We have a different gift according to the grace given to each of us. If your gift is prophesying, then prophesy in accordance with your faith. If it is serving, then serve. If it is teaching, then teach. If it is to encourage, then give encouragement. If it is to giving, then give generously. If it is to lead, do it diligently. If it is to show mercy, do it cheerfully. My eyes is just really dry, so I'm not crying. This kind of reminds me, a couple months ago, I was sharing my story and then preaching at the ladies' conference. And after I finished my message, one of our youth school came up to me. I think she's only like and she said to me, Noriko, really good word. And I was so encouraged by that. Why? Because that was a really, really hard week for our family. And the last thing someone would do was get up and preach. We had some incident, our son was assaulted on the night before actually. I spent all day at the hospital and I didn't think I could do it. But God gave me His grace and strength to get up and do it. And then when that girl came up to me and encouraged me, it meant so much. It just left a deposit in me. As much as Paul was encouragement to Timothy, Timothy was also encouragement to Paul. And I think we sometimes forget, it's not always you taking it, it's always also you giving the encouragement. We all need encouragement, but let's receive it and let's give it out because we all need it. So, purpose of all these gifts, whether spiritual gifts or encouragements, giving, is for the common good. It means for the good for the others. For common good. It's not for me. It's not for just you to feel blessed and then, oh, I'm so spiritual. That's not the purpose of it. It is for the edification of the body of the Christ. We are to use that to edify for the body of Christ. And can I also remind ourselves that the gift doesn't need a platform? Is that okay to say it? Limited understanding, if God doesn't use me means therefore wherever we find ourselves, whatever we are doing, whether we are here on a Sunday serving the children, or whether we're down at the shop doing a grocery shopping or waiting a bus stop, wherever you go to work, you share love of Jesus. We just had someone inviting a work friend today. They've been sharing love of Jesus for 6 months, and their work friend walked through the door of a church for the first time ever and recognized there's something happening in her life. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. So let's not limit how God can use us with our gifts when we stir up. How God can use us. It's not limited to Sunday. It's not limited to on the platform. It is every single day, wherever you go, wherever you find yourself, whether you're at the school or talking to someone on the phone. So, gift of God is not for my agenda. It is not for our own agenda. It's actually for God's agenda. That's a really good reminder for myself that I have to remind myself sometimes when I don't feel like using it, because sometimes continue using God's given gift can also be tiring, and we can be discouraged when we don't see what we want to see, not understanding what God is doing in that person's life. Thank you, MJ. I said, I'm not crying actually, I've got very dry eyes. So the importance to stir up a gift, fan the flame as a fire. The Timothy's gift was in the preaching, the teaching of the word, and also the leadership. Why was it so important for that to be stirred up? Paul knew importance very well. As I said, this is at the end of his life. He knows that he's not going to come out of the jail. What does it mean? This time also, the first arrest he was still teaching. This time he's not teaching. What does it mean? It means he knows that it will be no more super apostle Paul going on a mission trip, teaching the word, preaching the word, establishing a church, training a leaders. He knows that. But he also knows the works he's been doing all his life need to continue. Someone has to continue preaching the word. Someone has to continue guiding the leaders. Someone has to continue training up the people. Someone has to continue doing a missionary work. That's why Paul is sending this letter, the last word, saying to Timothy, come on son, stir it up. I'm not going to be here anymore, but you've got to do this. This is the underlining. That's why I think that's what makes me cry. I'm a female, so it's okay. I cry watching kids' movie. Don't laugh, okay. There's urgency in Paul's spirit. This is what I pick up. An urgency in Paul's spirit, and sometimes we forget. We just become so comfortable doing the same thing week in, week out. Doing the same routine, and we lose as a Christian, as a believer. We can't lose the coming back. Let's not forget Jesus is coming back. There is a shattered. Jesus. Funny story. When we were in Italy, we were walking at the Rome Central Station. A lady came up to us and said to Justin, "Excuse me, sir." She's going to ask for money, she's going to ask for change. So we kept walking, ignoring her. And then she just started following us, saying something Italian. I was so annoyed. I turned around and said, "Excuse me, please don't follow me." And so I just kept walking. Justin said, "Why did you do that? Why did you do that? You don't talk to these people." Anyway, she followed us quite a bit, and I'm going like, "Oh no, I don't have a change. I don't have a..." Okay? It's true because the toilet. I said, "You speak Italian, I don't understand." So Justin's picking up a few words like this. Walking by. Station. And I first thought there was a guy being prayed for. And there was another guy in a wheelchair. This guy. Wow. Yeah. I want to see that at Robina Station. Everyone's there, yes, that's right. Paul had his that's what it is. We need to stir the gifts of God to bring many more people to Jesus. For He is our hope, and He's our Redeemer, He's our rescuer, and He's our Saviour, and there is no other. And the world needs to know that. Our world is hurting and needs Jesus. And power who has stir good. We can make themselves better by using God-given gifts to teach the children the things of God, the way they should go. You know, and his faith was passed on from his mum, and mum before that was grandmother. But I'm sure someone shared a faith, maybe someone passed that and in generation. So let's stir up our gifts. So the second one is replacing fear. This different kinds of fear, but this fear that in this verse is talking about is actually timidity. You know, when we shrink back, we shrink back. You know, Asians are actually good at shrinking back because we don't want to stand out. That's a cultural thing. We don't, you know. We need to replace the fear, the timidity. So again, 2 Timothy 1:6 and timidity. hearing what other people say about us more than what God says about us.
Yeah.
That's when the fear of men comes in. That's when intimidation comes in. You know, there's so many things that intimidates us. You know, it can be a certain, can be what other people said about us. You know, might be a harsh word that's spoken over us. Whatever it might be. So Paul is saying, come. Just as